Welcome back. Now, some of the EFF leadership are expected to return to court on the 29th of September this year. Earlier today, Ndlozi took to the stand to testify in the assault case against himself and party leader Julius Malema. If you recall, about 4 years ago, Malema and Ndlozi allegedly assaulted senior police officer Lieutenant Colonel Johannes Venter after they claim he attempted to deny their car access to the funeral procession of the late Winnie Madikizela Mandela. eNCA reporter Heidi Jokos has been following court proceedings and she joins us now in studio. Heidi, Ndlozi at some point said that their rights were violated. What rights exactly?
Yes, so important to highlight the fact that today it was Ndlozi's turn to take to the stand. He was cross-examined and he also gave his version of events as to what happened on the day that Winnie Madikizela Mandela was laid to rest. Of course, that video going viral and showing how the car that Ndlozi and Julius Malema were travelling in was denied access. It's alleged that Ndlozi, together with Julius Malema, pushed Mr. Venter and things got out of hand. Ndlozi indicating today in court that he feels as though his rights were fundamentally violated. He feels as though he was not given the right to get access into the Memorial Fourways Park, and he says that his right to mourn a loved one was taken away from him. He says that it was very clear that the car was accredited. It was very clear that he had been wearing his accreditation, and it just made no sense as to why he was not allowed access in there. He also says that the situation was very tense and volatile from the very beginning. He says there was no way to engage or to understand why their particular car was blocked off. Let's listen to some of what Ndlozi said earlier today in court.
The problem, I'm not happy or not happy. The things you're asking me are self-evident. And these grounds have been canvassed for so many times. And it's difficult emotionally to keep watching this humiliation of myself and accused one when our rights were being violated to try and go bury a loved one. So to constantly have to interact with this humiliation, it's not easy.
Okay. Now, Heidi, there's a comment he made in court today where he said Colonel Venter didn't come across as someone who was willing to talk things through. This was something that Malema also said when he was on the stand.
Yes, exactly, Masoko. So what we know is that Ndlozi is indicating that when they got to the Fourways Memorial Park, they had noticed that Colonel Venter was standing in front of the car, blocking the car with his body and his arms. And the question that was posed to him by the state prosecutor was, why did you not engage with Colonel Venter instead of, starting off with assaulting him or pushing him and trying to get him away from the vehicle? And Ndlozi says there was no room for that. There was no opportunity for that. He says he did not see Colonel Venter as a person that you could engage with, somebody that you could have a conversation with to say, this is who we are, here's our accreditation, let's move over. He says as soon as he got there, he could just see that there was a lot of aggression and there was blocking of the car and there was no engagement between Colonel Venter and Ndlozi. What's also interesting is that the state prosecutor has questioned Ndlozi about why he did not ask for a superior to Colonel Venter or a senior or another police officer that was there instead of rather trying to engage with Colonel Venter. And Ndlozi's point is that he feels as though he couldn't engage and he just wanted to get the car through because he knew that they were accredited. Let's listen to that part of his testimony.
He was physical. He was not willing to be conversational. He was physical. The first act of physicality was to grab a car, my car, the car I am in. It will not move. That is his physical language.
Okay.
It will not move by the force of my body.
You explain that to us.
Yes, so I'm saying that and you interact with such a person, they tell you you're not allowed to enter.
But when he said you're not allowed to enter, did you say, I want to speak to your manager, your supervisor?
No, I tried to pull him that, okay, my sense was maybe if we go to the side and have a conversation, he might understand or something. And then the language of his body did not seem to be a man willing to have a conversation.
So you wanted to pull him aside to have a conversation with him?
Yes.
That was your intention. Oh, good.
Yes, that, hey, Chief, maybe, like, let me
speak one-on-one.
In the meantime.
Right, Heidi. So clearly the two EFF leaders are wanting to tell the court that Venter is the one that approached them with violence first and they retaliated?
Yes, that's exactly it, Masego. They feel as though he was violent from the beginning. His body language showed that of aggression, and they feel as though every other car before their car was allowed to go through and wasn't checked. Why was their car checked or rather not checked? It was rather stopped, and this is when it seems as though there was some kind of altercation and aggression at play there. What's interesting, though, is that Julius Malema, who's accused number one in this matter, he testified previously, but he addressed courts outside today, and he indicated that they believe the state does not have a case. He says it's very clear the evidence presented to the courts also shows exactly what happened, and they've given their version of events. Before we listen to what Julius Malema had to say, we do know that judgment will be handed down on the 29th of September this year. Let's listen to Julius Malema.
They couldn't do anything. They couldn't make us concede on any point. If anything, they conceded. And many times the prosecutor conceded that we were correct. As we were taking the stand, the state case became more weaker and weaker. And we are more than confident that we'll emerge victorious. We had a very solid team, focused, and we did not undermine this case because we knew that when it comes to the leadership of the EFF, there is nothing called small case or big case. Every little opportunity they get to humiliate us, they will use it with both hands. So that's why they humiliated us at the funeral, and they've been humiliating us for the past 4 years on a simple matter where at some point we reached out, even when we're not wrong, to say let's resolve this through Ubuntu principles, but to show that there is hidden agendas which are informed by, amongst other things, hatred. They declined the Ubuntu principle as envisaged by Nelson Mandela. They claim to be cherishing.
All right, Heidi Jokos with that report. Let's leave it there for now.